I'm Lee James, and welcome to another episode of Lessons in Jazz with Lee James. Today we're going to build on the previous lesson of the major seventh chords in open position, and we're going to learn now on the next two of the three major chord symbols and chord formations that we need here in open position. That is the dominant seventh and the minor seventh. You have to learn the major sevenths down cold before you go and learn the next two chords here. Just like you've got to learn how to play Bach before you can play Beethoven. You have to learn Beethoven before you can play Brahms, before you can get into Schubert, Schumann, and Liszt, and so forth and so on. All of these disciplines build on each other. So you're looking at this episode. I'm going to assume you have the major sevenths down cold in all three of the practice regimens I gave you, which we will review in just a few minutes. So let's go over our major seventh chord again. Here we go. 1, 5, and 7 in the left hand, 3 and 7 in the right hand. So now we're going to form this chord, and we're going to lower our seventh one more half step down to the dominant seventh tonality. All right? Let's look at that again. Octave, major seventh, and we're going to call this lowered seventh just to differentiate it from minor seventh, the chord, or dominant seventh, the chord. We're going to call this tone itself just the lowered seventh. Yes, lowered seventh. So here we go. Major seventh, adjust, play. There it is, the eponymous 5-7 chord, which is required in all of Western music. Why? Because it leads to the one chord. There it is. That's our one chord, F. So C7, now let's move around the circle of fourths, form our major seventh, adjust to the lowered seventh, play. Form our major seventh, adjust to the lowered seventh, play. Then you can see I'm not starting from here, I'm starting from here. We have to have our major sevenths down cold before we can move on. Major seventh, lowered seventh, play. Major seventh, lowered seventh, play. Major seventh, lowered seventh, play. 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 Go up to E again. There it is. We're back around to the top of the circle again. This is a very effective way of learning your chords and building on each of the previous lessons of chords, because a lot of the music that we will be playing follows the scheme of the circle of fourths. The moves to the chord progressions move via the circle of fourths. There's no way around it. It's just how it's been done for 100 years now. So we get to the major seventh. Marvelous. We also have to do it chromatically. This sounds like the cartoon character climbing the ladder, right? They use dominant seventh chords. They don't use major seventh chords. It sounds too soft. No, they got to have an edge to it. Okay, that's the chromatic. So you got to learn the chromatic. Plus, we also have to now make a whole new batch of flashcards, like I showed you last week. Got to make another set of 15, I think it's 15 flashcards with the doubles, as the bottom of the scale crosses into the 4, 5, 6, and 7 flats and sharps. They overlap like this. Now you put your flashcards up there, start your gnome, and go about randomly. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. What's the next one? 3, 4, 2. Oh, I played that one already. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you do this for a week, ideally just a week, now you mix your dominant seventh flashcards with your major seventh flashcards, shuffle them up like a deck of cards, spread them out, and now you can mix up and randomly with your metronome, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2. What's the next one? 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. And you never know, you might come up with a neat sounding tune, making a composition out of it. That is how you build on the major seventh. Major seventh, dominant seventh. Now, with that in mind, we are now going to build on the dominant seventh exercises in order to learn our third and final of the three major chords, our minor seventh chord. Form our dominant seventh chord. Can you see it? Lower the major third down to the minor third. There's our minor seventh chord. Beautiful. Dominant seventh, form, adjust, play. Dominant seventh, adjust, play. Dominant seventh, adjust, play. Play. Or you're playing it like this. Back at the top of the circle. It's got to be done cold. It's got to be down cold on its own. Go chromatically. Right? And then, of course, you've got the random. All three of these things with the gnome is what is going to get you into the game of forming, playing, and ideally enjoying how to play jazz piano for yourself, for your profession, maybe for your church or synagogue. It's something that at the very basic level, just learning these three chords is going to get you into the ball game. You don't have to be a pianist. You don't have to start practicing scales and arpeggios and studying with a teacher, unless you want to, of course, unless you really want to get proficient, being able to sit down at the piano and getting a good handle on it, being comfortable playing the piano. Now, we've got three groups of flashcards: major seventh, dominant seventh, minor seventh. Shuffle them all up, and now start playing them randomly. Now you've got 15, 30, 45 flashcards. The stack is getting bigger and bigger. And these are just the sevenths. We will duplicate this whole situation for when we get into 9th, 11th, and 13th tonalities. Plus, we got a whole set of cards that come after that, after we get into altered color tones. Sorry, my bra strap's falling. The next thing that I want to show you about utilizing these cards and the circle of fourths primarily is I want you to go and alternate between two of these groups of chords. Not all three, we're not going to get there yet, but just the two groups of chords. So if you start on C minor 7, let's say at the top of the circle, go to F7. And now you have the 2-5 progression. C minor becomes a 2 chord of B flat. F7 becomes 5 chord of B flat. Now you do the same thing as you move around the circle. 2 chord, minor 7th, dominant 7th. Okay? It's a way of alternating just with your head as you move around the circle of fourths. That's using the second and third of the three chords. We could do that with the first and second of the two chords. We could go C7 to F major 7. And that becomes a 5-1 resolution. 5 chord of F. 5 chord of E flat, B flat 7, F major 7. Now we have a 5-1 relationship. And that's how we move around the circle of fourths. And this is how we get our basic 3 chord structure for learning jazz piano. Once you have this down, all 3 chords, going through these exercises, alternating them, going around the circle of fourths with just 2 of the groups, dominant 7th to major 7th or minor 7th to dominant 7th. Then we can move on to the next step, which is our 2-5-1 exercises, which I have a ton of them to do. So with that in mind, that ends our lesson today. My name is Lee James. Please tune in to this channel for more lessons in the future. Check out my Facebook page. Become a subscriber if you would. And we'll see you next time.